When you're first told you have osteoporosis, you might feel completely lost, especially when it comes to supplements. Everyone has an opinion. For me, I wanted proof of what actually works. Over time, I learned exactly which supplements supported my bone density and which ones were a waste of money. Let's go through the real results, what helped me rebuild stronger bones naturally. This is part of my Reverse Osteoporosis Naturally video series where I share what really worked for me. Hi, I'm GloryB and this is GloryB-TV. I reversed osteoporosis at the age of 61 and I did it naturally without the bone drugs through diet, supplements, and exercise. Now, before we get into the supplements I use to rebuild stronger bones naturally, I want to mention something really quick. YouTube hasn't been showing my videos to everyone who wants to see them, even to people who subscribe. So I have an email list that you can sign up for to make sure you never miss a new video. When you sign up, you'll also get my best anti-aging tips and a free 3-page guide. It's packed with simple tips that make a big difference. I only send an email about every 2 weeks or so you won't get a ton of emails from me. You can find the link to join the email list below the video in the description box. Now, the supplements I use have certain vitamins and minerals that are great for building real bone. I'm also focused on having good immunity internally, and I'll tell you what else I'm taking for that. The last time I had the flu was in 1975 when I was 15 years old. Now I'm 65 as I'm filming, and I've just had the occasional cold once in a while, but not the flu. The first set of supplements that help me reverse osteoporosis naturally is the Garden of Life Grow Bone System. Now, most people have heard of the brand called AlgaeCal, which is very similar to the Grow Bone System, but AlgaeCal is more expensive for the same 30-day supply. For example, as I'm filming, the Grow Bone System is selling for between $45 and $50 for a 30-day supply, while the 30-day supply of AlgaeCal is selling for $113. Dr. Denise Shostak recommended the Grow Bone System to me after she had researched it along with researching AlgaeCal. Now, this set comes with 2 different supplements. The first is the raw calcium, which is calcium sourced from organically grown algae. This isn't calcium citrate or any of the other number of calcium supplement types that usually can cause problems. This supplement also contains some vitamin C, a small amount of vitamin D, magnesium also sourced from algae, vitamin K2, menaquinone 7, also known as MK7, several raw organic fruits and vegetable blends, and several raw probiotic and enzyme blends. Now, the vitamin K2 MK7 is also a great supplement for building real strong bones. And that K2 also works well with the vitamin D to get the vitamin D where it belongs in your body. I'm going to discuss more about vitamin D in a minute because I do take more D. For this calcium supplement, you take 4 capsules per day, so 2 in the morning and 2 at lunchtime. You can take them either with or without food. It's up to you. It was easier for me to remember to take them if I took 2 at breakfast and 2 at lunch. That brings me to the second supplement in the pack, their Growth Factor S, which is strontium citrate. Now, before coming to conclusions based on what you may have heard about strontium, I encourage you to read a well-researched article I've linked in the description box below the video. This article contains references to numerous studies, allowing you to explore the actual research and come to your own informed opinion, rather than relying on hearsay. Now, to get to the description box on a phone or tablet, go below the video and tap the word more. Then you have to tap the word more a second time. Then scroll down to the section called Links Mentioned. I'll also list a link to everything I talk about in the first comment. Now, to get to the first comment on a phone or tablet, go below the video and tap the word comments. Then you need to tap the words read more, and my first pinned comment will open, and you can scroll through it to find everything I'm talking about, including the article about strontium. Now, for this strontium supplement, you'll take 680 milligrams per day, which for Garden of Life's Grow Bone System is 3 capsules. And you have to take them at a different time of day as the calcium supplement, taking all 3 strontium capsules at one time. So I take them in like late afternoon, or say between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock. You can also take it in the evening if you want to. Now, this supplement also has a raw organic fruit and vegetable blend and a raw probiotic and enzyme blend in it. The Garden of Life Company and Dr. Shostak recommend taking the Grow Bone System for 6 months. Now, when I got to that point, I cut the amount of calcium in half, taking 2 capsules per day of the calcium, and I cut the amount of strontium to 1 capsule per day. Now, since it's been a while since I reversed the osteoporosis, I'll go like several months without taking the Grow Bone System, and then I'll buy it again and take a half dose. Before I wrap up on the Grow Bone System, I want to address one more thing about the Garden of Life brand. Some viewers have mentioned to me in the past that Garden of Life is now owned by Nestle, and they refuse to buy the Grow Bone System because they don't trust Nestle. Well, I decided to do my own research. That included reaching out directly to Garden of Life through some of my LinkedIn contacts. And personally, I'd rather speak with someone inside the company who has real knowledge, even if we're emailing each other, instead of relying on bloggers who may have an axe to grind with Nestle. After several email exchanges back and forth, and yes, I had plenty of follow-up questions, the Garden of Life rep assured me that Nestle has taken a completely hands-off approach when it comes to their products at the Garden of Life company. That means no interferences with how Garden of Life sources their raw materials, manufactures their supplements, or how they handle quality control. So this information comes straight from the source, not from secondhand opinions. Now, if you happen to have direct firsthand information that says something otherwise, I genuinely like to hear about it. But please make sure it's from someone who actually works at Garden of Life or who recently left the company, and ideally they worked in areas like quality control or procurement, not in an administrative position. Let's talk about vitamin D. Now, sunlight is great for getting a dose of vitamin D, but for most of us, sunlight isn't enough. Now, a few years ago, I realized how common low vitamin D is in the United States, so I joined a study that checks my blood twice a year. I can see the results online and adjust my D3 supplement dose based on what my body actually needs. In fact, Dr. Joel Fuhrman has always said, and I've heard him say this, if you take a D3 supplement, you need to get your blood tested regularly. Otherwise, you're just guessing how much supplement to take. So I aim for a vitamin D level between 70 and 85 nanograms per milliliter. I always take my D3 with a little bit of fat, like an almond or a cashew, because D3 needs fat to absorb properly in our bodies. Now, since I usually take it before breakfast, and my breakfast is just fruit, eating that tiny bit of fat in the nut at the same time as I take the D3 is enough. You'll find conflicting advice online. Some say high vitamin D is amazing for your bones, and others say it's not necessary. But in the study I'm part of, keeping a steady, higher level of vitamin D supports overall health, not just bones, but also for healthy immunity and your body's ability to fight off all kinds of health issues. I mentioned earlier that the Garden of Life Grow Bone System has vitamin K2 in it. K2 is great to take when you're also taking vitamin D3 to help with the body's proper use of D3. Vitamin D3 increases calcium absorption from the gut, but without enough K2, that calcium may get deposited in the wrong places, such as in the arteries or kidneys. K2 makes sure the absorbed calcium is directed to the bones and the teeth. Working together, vitamin D3 enhances calcium absorption, while K2 activates the proteins responsible for integrating calcium into the bones. When I'm not taking the Grow Bone System, I take a separate vitamin K2 supplements. Now, some experts I follow suggest to not take a combination capsule that has both D3 and K2 in it, since you might need more or less D3. In other words, buy your D3 separately from your K2 supplement. Since I'm vegan, I take vitamin B12 and I take a capsule form 2 days a week. When I get my blood tested at any other time, I have them test for vitamin B12. I used to take it in a tablet form, but those tablets would disintegrate right in the bottle. So now I buy B12 in the small, tiny capsule, and I take them 2 days a week. The kind I take is listed and linked in the description box. The other thing I take for increased immunity is zinc. I take 50 milligrams per day, and I take it with a zinc ionophore. Now, what is a zinc ionophore? Well, it's the substance which gets the zinc into your cells. I've linked below to a study on zinc ionophores in the PubMed website. Now, the easiest over-the-counter zinc ionophore you can purchase is quercetin. I take about 250 milligrams of quercetin when I take the zinc. I've taken several different brands of quercetin, and I've linked them all below the video in the description box. The thing I learned about zinc the hard way is that you have to take zinc with a full meal. I can't take zinc with my other morning supplements, which I take on an empty stomach. And I can't even take zinc with my morning berries or even with a smoothie. If I do that, I'll get queasy, like a little nauseous. So I take the zinc and the quercetin either just as I'm finishing eating lunch or just as I'm finishing eating dinner. That way, I've never felt queasy at all. Let's go back to calcium. Now, the best way to get calcium is from food, and that's not from dairy. Dark leafy greens, such as kale and collard greens, broccoli, oranges, tofu, and beans will give you a lot of easily absorbable calcium. I've talked a lot about foods that build real strong bones in previous videos. I also have a simple, delicious recipe for cooked kale that will help you get more kale into your diet. In addition, I linked to my favorite kale salad recipe, which I make with lacinato kale. In fact, all of my osteoporosis related videos are in one playlist on my channel. The link to the playlist will be in the description box and on the card in the upper right corner. Supplements are important, but the real bone building magic comes from the foods we eat. Click the end card image now to see my go-to diet for reversing osteoporosis naturally. And I'll see you in the next video.